just saw it with Miami Dolphins. The pressure, he's in trouble. Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle. It's a Dolphin touchdown. Throwing deep upfield on the near side. Man open. Touchdown! Touchdown! He's going deep! He's got him for a touchdown again! Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan! Let's go!
All right, huddle up, huddle up. We're gonna crank these engines up on one. All right? Wait, 80. Wait, set. Drivers, start your engines.
This is the Finish Line.
I coached a great offensive lineman in the past. Larry Little, Dwight Stevenson, Jim Langer, all Hall of Famers, and Richmond Webb belongs to that same group.
Here are your hosts, legendary Miami Dolphins left tackle Richmond Webb, Reason, and Mr. BallGame.
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another episode of the Finish Line. We welcome you in. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, the legendary Richmond Webb, the triple OG, Mr. Decked Out in the Orange like it's 03.
OG.
Mr. BallGame. What is good, gentlemen? How are you doing? And before we get into everything, shout out to Griffin Gaming for the $10 donation. He says a certain individual who won't be named was really creaming his jeans over Caleb Williams earlier today. He got mad when I pointed out how illogical it was for Caleb to actually come here. You know, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say a lot of people in this community haven't actually watched Caleb Williams. If you remember, I've been talking about Caleb Williams for months on this channel. I've said, hey, you know, next year's the year where you draft a quarterback. It ain't this year. It's when Drake May's coming out and Caleb Williams is coming out next year. If Tua don't work out and you draft a quarterback, it was not this year. It was next year to draft. And he was a guy, him and Drake May are guys I've specifically named over and over again. And you got people out here, brother, they're just doing what you said they're doing to their genes at the thought of another option. That's all they're doing. Okay? Where February 22nd, and I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about. And these same people, all we've been hearing about is the quarterback's position since the season ended. When look at all the changes we've gone through on defense. Look at the coaching staff we're putting together. But I get it. When you're casual, out of your depth, right? Quarterback's the easiest position to talk about because it's the one you see the most on TV, especially when you don't know the schemes and the nuances of Fangio's defense and what's really going down. So that's all I got to say about that. Richmond, BallGame, how are y'all doing? I mean, we'll get into it, but boys, man, how can you not sit back? Why are we talking about quarterbacks? Let's sit back in awe of the staff being built, the minds being put together. I mean, it's a good time to be a Dolphin fan right now with everything that's going on, gentlemen. So I'll address it, but I don't let the toxicity get me down because right now, gentlemen, I think we've made some of the best moves in the offseason. But how are y'all feeling as this is the first week players can be franchise tagged heading into March 6th? And we are only, a couple weeks out, 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks till the tampering window opens.
Yeah, man.
So how are y'all feeling right now?
It's a time
Go ahead, BallGame. Go ahead.
It's good times right now, bro. Like, it's all good, but legitimately, man, at this point, man, it's good to be able to be giddy again, man. I think the fan side of me is once again alive, and I'm anxious to see how they continue this process, man. I gotta give them credit, man. I haven't been a doubter for a minute in regards to the front office, bro, but the last couple of years, man, they've really gone through the process of genuinely trying to do a massive overhaul to turn this thing around and point it in a positive direction. And I gotta take my hat off to them, man. Like, they are not at any point pulling any punches, man. They are not trying to even conceal and make it a mystery in regards to what they're actually trying to do. Mm-hmm. They're trying to put together a winning team at every level, coaching, on the players, you know what I'm saying? Even the consultants, people that they rely on for just general information, bro. They're getting the top and the best out there. And that, to me, says that, one, we're being heard as a fan base, and two, Ross actually gives a shit about what we say. Now, on the other side of it, you can't help but be happy about the fact that arguably we got two of the best minds on the opposite sides of the ball. Fangio and his resume is unreal. And now, Mike, if he was able to go into free agency, bro, and get the players that he needs to complete this offense, it's going to be scary. Because you finish with the number 2 passing offense, and, you know what I'm saying, without even a really much of a run game to depend on. If they can get the blockers up front that he covets, that he wants to complete this run game, bro, it's going to be a problem. And it's good times to be a Dolphin fan. I don't understand why anybody wants to sit around and go back and forth over things that don't matter, bro. In the last 3 years, I was on a podcast the other day, me and EM, trying to set the record straight about some things. But, what seems to be the consensus is that we're never happy as a fan base. We're never happy with progress. And the progress that we see is substantial enough, especially from Tua, to be giddy about the possibilities, right? There's only one question mark on this kid, and it's whether he can stay healthy for 17 games. If he checks that box off, I think everything else, I know everything else, he will be exactly what we predicted he would be. And no one will be able to deny that. But, it's so much easier for people to want to go through the process of tearing down things and being skeptical. I don't do skeptical energy. But, nevertheless, we'll get into all that. I'm good, man. It's a good place to be. Richmond, I'm sorry I ran on for so long, bro.
No, you're good, brother. I like that 54. You rocking that 5'4" or whatever, brother.
Hey, man, they took him long enough, but you had to bring him out, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I think we all definitely happy about that as a fan base. But, I tried to sneak on Reason's show yesterday and just made a quick little comment. And he blasted me out. So, people showed me a lot of love. But, before the show got, and, I seen the topics we were going to talk about. I mean, you think about it, normally during the off season, there's not much to talk about. But we got all this positive stuff coming out, all this good news, like Fangio, the defensive staff that they're putting together right now, and then like Reason was just talking about with Caleb Williams, people want to focus on the quarterback. I mean, I think we're set right there. I don't think that's a major need, and that's one thing I heard Reason talking about yesterday was, offensive line and Connor Williams, guys we don't have under contract, the running back position, this and that. And then right before we came on the show, guy Jorge Fernandez, we Twitter friends, you just sit there and say, hey, what are we going to do about the offensive line? So every now and you get a message like that, it makes you feel good because you see guys are actually getting it and they understand. Yeah, we got the piece. We got a Tyreek. We got a Wow. We got a Tua, but we got to fix what's going on up front. And so that was a breath of fresh air for me. But, man, like I said before the show, retweeted, this is a good time to be a Dolphin. And I'm going to see if I can talk to Mr. BallGame and let some of y'all have a pass and actually come on back and jump on the bandwagon. He normally get nobody in the room.
No.
I'm gonna go to bat for y'all if y'all kind of chill out, man. It's gonna take a lot of work. I don't know if I'm gonna make it happen, but other than that, I'm good and excited about the show. So yeah, definitely ready to get into it.
So, I mean, let's start off here. Just because people haven't really heard your thoughts, we'll start off with you, BallGame. Your just quick thoughts on Fangio's introductory presser. When he talked about how he talked about keeping other teams about in the end zone. He talked about if there's guys he's passionate about, he's gonna bang on the door of Chris Greer to go get him. And he again alluded to, he's been working on some new looks, some new coverages,
right,
while he's been sitting back. He described the way he describes it. I picture Michael Keaton when he's sitting in the back cave with all those cameras, all those screens in front of him. What are your overall thoughts? Because I mean, I don't know how people aren't like, why are we talking about the quarterback? I mean, Richmond said it. We're set. The excitement right now should be about Fangio and what's about to, I don't know how you don't watch that introductory press conference, and that's not what you're all thinking about since it goes on, because that's all I've been thinking about BallGame. So I don't know what your thoughts were on the press conference.
Well, first, when I listened to it and I watched it, right, I thought to myself, like, thank God. The guy talked extensively about the fact that he spent time, even though he was away from the game, he wasn't away from the game.
Yeah,
right?
like Gailey.
Yeah, those things matter, bro. Like,
yeah,
he still has a passion enough to. He still has a passion for the game, and it didn't allow him to detach. He's still sitting around, coming up with schemes, thinking about different packages and different coverages that he can use to basically give quarterbacks fits. You know what I'm saying? Give quarterbacks fits and make defenses. Make offenses struggle. Those type things that made me giddy, bro. Because as a defensive coordinator, you know what I'm saying, I do the same thing. When I sit down and I think about who we playing against, my sons and I go. I got a little whiteboard in the garage. I go to it. I tell them, I say, hey, give me the 3 top things that these guys do. And I'm on the whiteboard, drawing up coverages and drawing up defenses to try to figure out how to completely neutralize those things. And for a guy at his age, now our guy to be the head of this defense, that I don't care what anybody say. They regressed over the last 2 years under Boyer. It is what it is. But him coming in with a name that they all, regardless of where they came from or where they've been, can respect and believe in and know, and he's got the stats behind it to prove that he's able to put a hell of a product on the field. You can't help but be happy for these guys, man. For once now at this point, we're not taking those shots in the dark, bro. We're going behind a proven commodity and a guy that has proven time and time again that he can get results. And that's what that stability is what you need. And we're going to have stability once again on the defensive side of the ball. And I do firmly believe, without a shadow, without that, Mike's going to have his stuff together dialed in on the offensive side of the ball. I believe that Smith and Bevel, they're going to dial him in, bro. They're not going to lie. They're going to have their conversations of, telling them, look, coach, we can take this for you. We can take this for you so you can focus on this. You know what I mean? Those type of conversations. But in the first year, a guy wants to be involved in a whole lot of stuff and do a whole lot of stuff. Now he ain't even got to worry, bro. Mm-hmm. He ain't even got to worry about the defense. He just tag in with him and say, hey, what do you see on from the film that they do the most? Or they do this and they do this. Okay, I got you, coach. You know what I'm saying? Let's go out on the field, scout work, show them exactly what they need, show them how to eliminate it, show them how to exploit it and take it away. And you got 2 great minds, 2 head coaches basically on one team, but 1 head coach with 1 united. You know what I'm saying? One united conquest, which is basically to go out and destroy the team across from them. And it can't get no better than that. So I don't know why people at this point can't be ultimately, because the stats don't lie. People can say what they want to say. You can go back and people can talk till they blue in the face, but when you go back and look at statistically what he's been able to do in the NFL, it's undeniable. You see what I'm saying? And then across the board, I'm gonna go to it.
The only down years he's had defensively are when he's like the Houston Texans rebuild. When he's been involved in having to rebuild the defense, he's got so many pieces in place where you just need to fix the second level and tweak the secondary, and you're ready to go, right?
That's
like
it. All he's doing now, bro, is just coming in, just tightening this screw, tightening this here a little bit, loosen up a little bit, to tweak the frame just a little bit here, you know what I'm saying, and send them.
Yeah.
Because we already got the pieces. Most of the pieces
Bro,
we
it's
already.
McVay and, listen, it's McVay and Wade Phillips 2.0. People forget the leap McVay took when Wade Phillips became his defensive coordinator. It's the same exact thing. Why do you think? Listen, why do people think Sean Payton went from Fangio to, okay, he checked out Fangio's protege, checked out all these young guys, and he circled the wagon back to Rex Ryan? Because they want the minds that have been around the game, that are proven. These coaches are smart enough to know, hey, in this game, with how good these offenses are getting, you need some proven minds out here. It's dicey when you got a younger guy, right?
I think what he said, listen, what he said that stuck out to me was the fact that he said he noticed that there was an uptick in teams trying to, even though teams are going to spread formations and trying to spread you out, there was still a concerted effort to try to run the ball.
Run the ball. That's never changed. Remember, he said it's only changed by like 4% or something like that.
Yeah.
He's like, there's been really no waiver. And what have we always said? Ball game. You can have all these passing attacks, but the run game. Why do you think the Patriots are so successful?
Yep. Top 10 every year.
Right? Like,
yeah. Top 10 every year. You run the ball, you're going to have major success, though.
Exactly. Yep. Richmond probably has nightmares, thinking about, man, if we had a run game. Because if they would have had a run game in the 90s with Marino, I go back. Everyone thinks, this is why I get mad at Bills fans, a bunch of clowns, right? When they tried to make it about Jim Kelly and Marino.
And they were Thurman Thomas.
Jim Kelly did not beat the Miami. Thurman
Kelly
beat Thurman Thomas in the playoffs.
Yeah,
okay?
Thurman Thomas is who killed us.
Yeah, the run game is what murdered us. If it wasn't Pete Stoyanovich against the Chargers, it was the run game. You know what I mean? Like, that's what killed us. You ran into the Bills, and I mean, Richmond could probably attest to this now that he looks back. They were built for playoff football. The way they ran the ball, the way they were, like, when they walked into our building and slapped us around.
Bro, you know what Thurman Thomas reminded? You know what Thurman Thomas was?
What?
Thurman Thomas ran with the same mentality like a Leonard Fournette, where you hit him, he's just laughing at you. And the more you hit him, the more he laughed at you. Because
Natron Means was like that too, because he's so big. Remember, he just laugh at people when he bounce off them.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, man. I don't understand people, bro. But, I'm happy,
Run game's
bro.
always going to matter, bro.
Oh,
all right, let's get to Richmond here. Before we do, PL says, loved how BallGame and EM Dolphin fan threw those shallow splashers into the deep end. The gurgling sounds were music to my ears. Philip Duke said, would you trade up for Bijan Robinson if he drops to the late 20s? Not smart to invest in running backs since he would give up picks, second and 2/3, but also why not Ricky Williams to help our new DC? I love Bijan Robinson. I would rather prefer see if Jamar Gibbs would fall to us, or Devin A-Chain's going to be like, no, I'm not trading up. We got too many bigger needs right now on the defensive side of football and on the offensive line that I'm good. Like, I even don't understand what people's fascination with taking a tight end at 51 is. Why? We just invested in Hunter Long. We've got Durham
Smythe, who's now shown that he can get. He's capable.
How many linebackers do we have under contract? 2. Channing Tindall and Jerome Baker in the interior.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about edge guys. I'm not talking about outside linebackers. I'm not talking about edge guys. I'm talking about interior linebackers, okay?
2.
How many running backs do we have under contract? 0. Automatically, those become a higher priority than taking a tight end at 51. No offense to anyone. And I'm sure the team thinks like that too. Yeah. All right, Richmond, we were talking about the Fangio thing. Let's wrap it up with your thoughts on it, but also because you were in the league, you saw it firsthand. And I mean, BallGame saw it too, coaching and stuff. I saw it to an extent too, but I'm up here in Canada. So, but I see it in hockey too. Relationships matter. Okay. And, you talked about Fangio said there wasn't really a relationship between them, but this is something that had been highlighted before. The relationship was cultivated by their agent. They share the same agent. And look at all the relationships now that are turning into the hirings that he's bringing onto the staff. And, how amazing it to you is that they really didn't have a relationship beyond an agent, yet here we are, and he passed up other guys like Sean Payton where he had legitimate, long-standing relationships. Like, that to me is a massive win, Richmond. Like, you don't really see, especially with an old school guy like Fangio. Usually they stick with who they know and what they know, right? They usually don't stepping outside the box to go with a Mike McDaniel. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts on all that?
Well, my thoughts are this: is I think the agent is the common ground, and not saying you have to know somebody, but a lot of times back in the day, we used to say, you know, my word is my bond. Yep. And so their agent is somebody that both of them have to respect, especially for somebody like Fangio. For him, like you say, he's been in the game. He's had opportunities to work with Sean Payton, this and that. But for his agent to say that and say, hey, I know you really don't know this guy, but this is, if y'all can get together and work it out, this will be the best fit for you. So he probably knows Mike McDaniel a little bit, but not like he's known other guys because he hadn't had an opportunity to form a relationship. But on the opposite end, you get Mike McDaniel that say, even though I don't know this guy, I respect this guy because he's got a proven track record. And just like you in BallGame said, other than if it's not a rebuild year, he's always in the top 10 defense year in, year out throughout the NFL. And that's very hard to consistently do. And then also to say, you know, he would like some input in bringing in some of the guys that he would like to complete the whole process. And I think they're going to give him that. And I think what a lot of people think is to have a great defense, you don't have to go out and get the top tier guys at every position. You just got to get the pieces you need. And some guys you can get cheap and say, no, I get this guy here, bring it together and put it in and still make it work. So you don't have to go out and break the bank to put it together. I think he understands that.
Defense simple, man. All you got to do is go out and get guys that are willing to follow orders, man, and do exactly what you ask of them to the letter, right? You ain't got to be over the top, extravagant, or athletic. You just got to be a guy that can go from point A to point B in this zone, settle down, have your eyes keyed into what you need to read and be able to read those things, because I think he'll simplify it for everyone. And then just execute. That's it.
Yeah. Like Z-Man made a point about Zach Cunningham because he got released today. Now, I know he's been battling injuries lately, but if that guy can get back to his 2018, 2019, 2020 form, he's a guy that Richmond's talking about. He'll come cheap, right? He'll come on the cheap, and if he does what you say, BallGame, listens to Fangio, and we've seen what that kid's ceiling is, that's a guy who's going to produce, and, you know, all of a sudden you got something. Lucky Luciano 23 says, staff looks great outside of Butch Berry. I also want to address something else. And first of all, before Butch Berry, all I'm going to say is, listen, I'm a little skeptical too, but give it a chance. The reason why is understand the context of the situation, right? He was trying to convert a bunch of gap guys into outside zone scheme blocking in Denver, implementing the Shanahan system, and we've gone over the context of where they finished in pass rush, run blocks, run block sets, and they've been top 10 in run block sets and pass block sets, and they were top 10 in penalties and blown block rate. So penalties and blown, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think it's what BallGame talked about earlier, or Richmond, whichever one, about Fangio, about how he wants to forget about that. Butch Berry knows what they want to do. They're going to get the guys in place where just go do it, right? Yep. So someone mentioned Taylor Lewan in the comments, and listen, Taylor Lewan, first of all, is not a right tackle. Nope. Second of all, he has only played in the last 3 years. He's played 20 games, and he hasn't played a full season since 2017, and he's about to be 32. Well, reason you like Armstead. Armstead's played more than 20 games over the last 3 years, and plus, when Armstead plays, he's top 3, top 5 at his position. Taylor Lewan is no longer the Pro Bowler he was in 2016, 2017, and 2018.
Right.
I'm good. I think there's rumblings he might even retire. So I'm good. He's about to be 32. His body's breaking down. Like
he's standing at the cliff, bro. He's standing at the cliff looking over.
And I don't want to hear Tua either. Well, you know, you like Tua, blah, blah, blah. Well, Tua's shown you this year he can be top 5 production at his position. This guy you're not going to get top 5 production for 12 or 13 games if he's out there.
Tua's going this way.
Not that. Yeah.
Tua's going this way. Lewan's going the other way, bro.
And guess what? Armstead's up here still going steady along when he's healthy. Right. And Lewan's down here going boom. All right. Nose diving. Look into stocks. Okay. All right. That man is Name the worst stock you can name right now.
He's
was that?
Outperforming it.
Well, no. What was that oil company that y'all had that oil off the coast?
Enron.
Cameron.
Yeah. Taylor Lewan's an Enron stock right now. Okay, that's basically what he is. I'm good. You know what I mean?
No,
Real talk.
no.
He is, bro. It is. It is. Like, you got to call it what it is, bro. Like, you know? So I don't want to hear comparisons to Teron Armstead. That's the dumbest thing I've heard. All right. Speaking of Fangio, guys, we had to talk about this. I'll read it. I want to get your guys' thoughts about it because the title of this article is Coaches Explain How New Dolphins Defensive Coordinator Vic Fangio Can Turn Offenses into a Shit Show. That's literally the title. One year when Vic Fangio was running the defense for the Chicago Bears, offensive coaches led by quarterback coach Dowell Loggins sent the defensive coordinator Flowers to apologize for making the defense look bad in practice. Sorry about today, read the card that arrived with Flowers. Hopefully tomorrow's practice will be better. The Flowers arrived before practice to mess with Fangio's head and humor. Fangio growled initially, but ultimately enjoyed the prank, and his defense proceeded to kick the Chicago offense's butt in practice that day. So yes, Fangio loves competition, even from his own team's offense. That's what the Dolphins are getting with their new defensive coordinator, a 64-year-old man who wants to compete with everyone, which isn't different, and has the ability to win at it more often than not, which the Dolphins desperately need. The Dolphins interviewed Fangio, Sean Desai, and Chris Richard for their vacant defensive coordinator job, and Monday they introduced Fangio as their leader on defense. You hire one of those three guys, you win, one former NFL coach told Outkick. The fact they picked the one guy who's the elite guy of that group, that's even better. So what makes Fangio elite? Start with the obvious. He's going to make life difficult for opposing offenses. Vic does the little things that are the annoyances, but you never know when they're coming, said one NFL offensive coach. If he threw an oddball at me, like if he's in base defense and I'm in 11 personnel for a lot of offense, that matters. So it can mess up your running game if you're not prepared. And you don't know what Vic's going to do. You could be in 11 personnel and he could play the whole game in base. And now you can run only outside zone. Said another coach, he'll figure out your protections for sure. He's the king of finding a way of messing with your back. He's talking about, how. That's the back's in protection. It's a 4-man rush, the coach said. Vic will blitz a linebacker, but drops another guy. So now you've got 5 linemen blocking 3 guys, and your back's blocking one of the inside linebackers that can rush. And now you're wasting your running back because you should be on and out on a route. What that leaves is Fangio now that has 7 defenders versus 4 receivers, and the quarterback has no check down. Now your quarterback is holding the ball, wondering where he should go, and it becomes a shit show, the coach said. That would be the Vic show for the Dolphins defense. Fangio also should pay dividends for the Dolphins offense, and yes, even their young head coach, Mike McDaniel. It'll be really good for the offensive players because they'll see a lot of stuff in practice, another coach told Outkick. And they'll have to make adjustments. Last year was the first year of Mike call plays, right? There's so many things you learn going through that experience. And to get that much more knowledge through training camp in spring, the value of that is through the roof. Fangio's base defense is 3-4, and he obviously will substitute to nickel at appropriate times. But now that you know that, forget it. Because there have been years in which he's decided he can play nickel versus everything because that is what puts his best players on the field. We're in charge of not letting the other team score, and we'll do anything and everything to do that, Fangio said. I've been in places in the past where we've pressured a lot. I've been in places where we didn't pressure very much. You've got to fit the scheme to the players that you have while also factoring the opponents that you're playing. So hopefully we'll be a team that'll keep the points down, make it hard for teams to score a lot of points, and put our offense in position to score points for us. Gentlemen, that is high praise around the NFL from offensive minds. And let's talk about that blitzing for a second, just to add context. Remember what he said about, I think he took a shot at our past defensive coordinator and scheme, right? When he said, I don't want to blitz because you have to. I want to blitz when I want to. And what's he talking about? The cover zero and everything, right? He said you don't want to be dependent on the blitz because that's when bad things happen. Yeah. Your guys, that is high praise, gentlemen. And sorry, Richmond, I got to start with BallGame again because he's the defensive coach.
Of course. Yeah.
Your thoughts on that BallGame? And shout out to Fake Spike. He says, Vicky can't see your defensive plays. Just hypnotize me. Little play on Biggie, on Hypnotized by Biggie. I don't know. So hold on. Let me apologize. Vicky, can't you see your defensive plays just hypnotize me? There you go. All right. So, what are your thoughts, ball game? Because I mean, we don't see high praise for a lot of coordinators like that.
My wheels over here spinning the entire time you was reading that article, bro, because I kept thinking to myself, anytime you can get to a position where you can keep an offense from sending their back, which is the primary number one check down for a quarterback, out into a route, and you can drop 7, there's a whole bunch of mind games, and there's a whole bunch of complexity that you can throw at an offense, and it just messes them completely up. And this guy, so just like the article said, is the mastermind of disguise and the mastermind of tricks of trying to make sure that they trip guys up. That's what we always want to do anyway. If we can get to a position where we can make the quarterback hold the ball 2-3 seconds longer, bro, or even half a second longer, that gives the pass rush time to get there, and we can gobble it up. And that's all you really want, man. I'm so giddy right now, bro, thinking about what this cover 6 and this cover 4, and I know he's going to be running some palms. Cover 4 palms is cover 4 palms for me.
Yeah.
Especially considering a lot of teams in the league now like to run a lot of trip sets, is an amazing coverage. But even in doubles, bro, if they want to go empty, cover 4 palms is so tricky because you got guys. If teams and quarterbacks don't truly understand it, they're throwing the ball into coverage every single play, and all you got to have in the middle is your middle linebacker as a guy that can actually just read and cover the intermediate area of the field, and it's a done deal because everything else is locked up. Fangio has said time and time again, and I believe it, man, because when you go back and you look at the footage and you look at the stats, it's all about confusion. And the most important thing is the fact that you never know what it's going to be until it's too late.
And then that's how they said it becomes a shit show. And that's how it becomes a shit show, right?
Yeah. I was so sick of Boyer showing coverage early, bro. Like, why are we rolling so soon? Come on, man. Even if it is cover 3, why you got to show it? You're playing scared at that point. And what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing from Vic's defenses is, no, ain't no scare here. You don't dictate to us. We dictate to you.
Scare money.
And we're going to be patient because you're going to eventually make a mistake, or we're going to eat you up with the sack. We're going to eat you up with a sack or the pressures, and you're going to have some bad throws, all these things. But your quarterback got to figure it out. And last I checked, there ain't many Tom Brady's in the league, bro. So
Rowan Gray says the middle is always the mind and heart of the defense at safety and middle linebacker, and I agree. And I think not having that second level and not having that general on the second level has been what's really been holding his defense back. Even when we had the secondary built, that's what's held us back from taking that next step. Richmond, what are your thoughts on that article, especially you coming from a defensive mind? I mean,
Yeah, it's the first thing I started thinking about when you were going over some of the notes and reading about it is when you have the athletes that can play base, nickel, short yardage, no matter what, and you substitute when you want to versus saying, okay, it's 3rd and 7, let's put our nickel package in here, and you got these guys running this. You can leave your same defense in there. Like you said, if you got 11 personnel and he wants to leave his base defense in there, he can leave them in there. Or if he's got his nickel defense, that's tough because I remember getting the scouting reports when I played and, certain situations we would break down. Normally you would see this look, that look, this look, but a lot of times you could determine the look because they might take out 2 linebackers and bring in a nickel and a dime guy, this and that. Well, if everybody stays in, you're like, why they still got their base defense in here? Because we're going 4 wide, this and that. So it can be intimidating, and when you can be just as effective, regardless of the personnel that you're playing out there, that's hard to that can create some problems. And even when BallGame was going over, like you said, we normally have the 4 down lineman in the mic a lot of times, but when you can force that running back to stay in and drop a guy out, this and that. Like you say, you have no little dump, check down pass or whatever. That can get frustrating, and your defense gets on and off the field, and you're going back and you flip. Well, they got the little tablets now. We used to flip the sheets and this and that, but you're trying to figure it out. And then when you think you figure it out, he switches and does something. It could be a nightmare for an offense. But I think that's one of the things that I like about it. All the positive stuff I'm hearing about Coach Fangio, and for our guys to have an opportunity to work against him in practice, that's going to make Mike even a better. It's going to make Mike better, but it's going to keep Fangio sharp at the same time because, man, I would love to watch some of the battles in practice just to see. Offense might win this day, but okay, you come back, defense wins. It's like, man,
it's going to be amazing.
It's going to be really good. I'm excited about it. I mean, It's hard to put into words, but it's going to be good. It's going to be a problem for a lot of people around the league, and I think we were talking about it last week. You and BallGame was saying I think we were the eighth ranked team, or as far as power rankings in this net.
Yeah,
and it's going to be legitimate. We're not going to sneak up on nobody, but we don't have to sneak up on them because we're going to have the support and cash to do it. So I'm excited.
It seems like we might sneak up on him a little bit with his defense, the way Fangio is talking, like he's got some new wrinkles. A third of the league runs his defense, so they'll be watching closely because they'll probably want to add those wrinkles to their defense. So today, we're going to double dip here. Today, the Dolphins, they continue to build out Fangio's staff, gentlemen. And now, you remember a couple days ago, they brought in Renaldo Hill, who, some Dolphin fans might remember played here. Yes, sir. Yeah. And, he took a demotion. He's now the passing game coordinator and a defensive assistant to Fangio, after being the defensive coordinator for the Chargers under Staley. Now the Dolphins are hiring Eagles assistant Joe Kasper as a safeties coach, another guy who played the position. He had significant interest elsewhere, according to Cameron Wolf, but chose Miami, where he will coach its safeties, a position he coached and played much of his career, and he will be under Vic Fangio. Now, I've heard, it was either going to be going with Gannon, right, to Gannon's new job in Arizona, or it was going to be coming here to Miami, and obviously he chose Fangio. You go ahead, BallGame, because I know you probably remember Joe Kasper, the player. What are your thoughts on Renaldo Hill and Joe Kasper being added to this around Sam Madison already, and Anthony Campanelli and Austin Clark still on the staff?
I think they're amazing ads, man, because the fact that these guys are actually taking positions lesser than the ones they were previously at tells me that they're actually looking to get. They're smart. That's smart, bro. Because now you're going and you're getting it directly from the well, bro. Like you're not getting the byproduct the second hand. You're getting it directly from the source. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which tells me they may have aspirations at some point to go back and do something different and be DC somewhere else as well. And who better to learn it from than the guy who's, the godfather, the mastermind of it. Like, I don't have no problem with it. I love Renaldo Hill as a player,
so did I.
Casper for what he, Casper was a decent.
I don't remember Casper as much as a player, but I remember Renaldo Hill.
Yeah, well, he was a decent athlete. He just could never really stay healthy, Casper. So, but knowledge wise, right? I think some of the best coaches that ever come into the ranks of football actually are guys that have actually been in the trenches and actually have had those struggles and went through the same things that guys are actually now at this point learning and trying to get over the humps for themselves as well. So
look at the head coach Vrabel's become.
That's it, man. Yeah, hey, who better, right? Who better? And look how his guys play for him, right? They know that he's been through it. So it ain't no BS when he's telling them, man, dig deep, bro. I don't want to hear this crap. You ain't giving me everything you got, because he know what it looks like for a guy to leave it on the field.
Yeah.
And for these guys to take the positions, all of them, leaving money out there and to return back to the Dolphins, bro, to be trying to get and soak up this knowledge from the well.
And BallGame, you're telling me that, and on the flip side, you're telling me what you just said doesn't show how much they believe in Tua. Darrell Bevell turned down promotions to come back and continue to work with Mike and Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
That's their guy. So stop wasting. Everyone needs to stop wasting their breath talking about other people. Darrell Bevell coming back tells you everything you need to know. He's not coming back if they got to flip over the position.
Exactly. If the guy had left, then that would be something that we'd be sitting here talking about, and I'd be like, okay, well, maybe there's something that we don't know about. But the fact that he actually turned down more money and a higher position to stay and you know what I'm saying, and stay here with this kid, man, that says
with two different teams.
I gotta believe in them. For two teams, yeah. Gotta believe in him too, man.
And he very well knows. You think that the Jets, when they were trying, it was the Jets and the Commanders. You think the Jets weren't telling him, "Yo, bro, we ain't rolling with Zach Wilson. We're gonna go get a Carr or a Rodgers."
Yeah.
And he said, "No, I'm good, thanks." I'm just saying, if that doesn't show you where they're at, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. So, I mean, you know, there's one thing reading between the lines. There's nothing when it's right there staring you in your face, ready to slap you. You know what I mean? So,
can I ask you a question, though? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Clarify this for me so I can understand it. What is exactly a tournier?
I have no idea. I didn't make up the word because the people who, because I'll tell you this much, the people who hate Tua sure as hell talk about him a lot longer and a lot more than we do that believe in him, in him.
Okay.
You know,
apparently so more tourniers than we are.
I get called a tournier because, you know, we broke down the film for the last 3 years. Bro, I added context to the situation. I said, and we said, if you need to do this, you might be able to see this kid's ceiling and you might have something special. Lo and behold, what did they do? Everything we said they needed to do around him, and we saw top 5 production. So like we said back then, and we'll say again, we weren't making excuses. We were providing context. You know why? We know how to, I've already talked about this. We know how to watch film. Listen, if you have never played the position or you don't know how to watch film, you are not an authority on the position. So don't be out here acting like if you're not a scout, don't be sitting out here acting like you're an authority on the position and what you say matters, because I hate to be the one to tell you. Don't.
Last I checked, we always pointed out the good
and the bad.
And
bro,
we
go
also
put on the San Francisco tape this year, bro. Me and Mark were killing the guy.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
I hate I missed out on those being busy and whatnot, but I watched them after the fact. Y'all were dead.
Buddy, if I was such a tournier, why wasn't it until I saw him in the MVP race was when I started declaring him a franchise quarterback this year? Why wasn't I declaring him a franchise quarterback the last 2 years? If I was such a tournier, don't make sense.
There's a whole bunch of guys that they be talking about on a consistent basis that wasn't even in the race and wasn't even in the conversations yet. This kid shows up,
bro. All these people want Lamar
for
Jackson
like 80% of the time, bro, and then it ain't enough for him.
Bro, Lamar Jackson wants 200 to 300 million guaranteed, and he stays on the field less than Tua, and he has a worse attitude than Tua. But they all want to bank on an MVP from 4 years ago?
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, let me know how that works out. How many playoff wins does he have? How many AFC championships? And you want to guarantee? How's that working out for the Browns? Let me know.
Yeah.
Are you crazy? Anyways, Richmond, let's get back to this.
My bad.
Woo! All right. Your thoughts on the new safety coach and Renaldo Hill? And hey, if you want to chime in on what we just said, batter up.
Yeah, I think y'all summed it up pretty good. What I do, and I agree, and I think BallGame, sometimes it looks like you're taking a step back, but you're really not. And when you can come on a staff and learn from the guy that everybody's kind of mimicking or doing what he is, it helps you accelerate. And the way this staff is being put together, I don't think it'd be together long. And the reason I say that is because once this team starts to have the success that we expect, people always want to come say, I need this guy, and people going to be making requests. And so he's already been a defensive coordinator. He probably knows certain aspects, this and that. And he said, okay, let me learn this. You want to keep adding.
There you go.
Anyway,
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Richmond.
But no, so I mean, I think it just speaks volume to where guys are either staying on this staff or guys are willing to come, and it looks like the most. I think I know we see it, but if Fangio puts that together and it's just a few pieces, man, we put that together, fix a few things, and we're talking about one of the top teams in the NFL. You know, true enough, you still got to stay healthy and this and that, but man, I think everybody sees it. And I think that's all the buzz that's going around. And I'm excited because, like I said, normally we don't have too much to talk about during the offseason, but the way they keep making moves, I mean, it was the same way last year. You know, they hit us with the Tyreek. They did this. They did this. Now it's the staff. Boom, boom, boom. It's like, you know, I can remember after the reports came out, you know, about, you know, tampering and this and that, but it shows our owner, he wants to win. And he's like, hey, bring them in, do what you got to do, this and that. So, you know, when you making moves like that, that'll make you forget about that other stuff. So hats off to him. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. So no, I love everything they're doing right now. I think it's A+.
I agree, Mark, with what you said here. I love John Michael Schmitz. I think he'd be a great fit. I also think, you know, and I've talked about this, not enough people are talking about how Connor only has 1 year left on his contract. And we don't even have anyone behind him if he gets hurt. God, knock on wood. They obviously don't believe in Dieter. They've shown that pretty much, that Dieter is just not their cup of tea. Yeah. So we don't even have anyone, a fallback plan. But I do agree with you. If you were to get a true center and kick him back to left guard, I think that would be, you know, I think that would be I mean, we've seen rookie centers, guys I've wanted over the last couple of years, and, you know, the Linderbaums and the Creed Humphreys and how they've all worked out, and Cesar Ruiz, and they've been studs. So
something about them guys. It's just something about them guys from up there around your area. You know what I'm saying? Minnesota, you know what I'm saying? You know, all those places where it gets hella cold and they got to play in the snow. They just built different, bro.
Those
you
are guys who want the trenches other than Richmond Webb, you know?
Ain't no snow. I'm from the
I know.
South,
I said that's why I said other than you, right? Because you came in the nice weather. But look at you remember, he came on the show. You remember Quinn Miners? You remember the training he was doing? That guy was doing like crazy winter training, like just nuts. 505 people in the room right now. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. All right, so I gotta ask this before we finish it off with the defense. Quick thoughts. Is Mike McDaniel quietly putting together one of, if not the best staff in the NFL right now?
It's the Avengers, bro. He's legitimately it ain't quiet. He legitimately putting together the Avengers, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't win. I got you an Ant-Man. You got you a Black Panther.
Let's say Thor instead of Ant-Man. All right. Let's not.
No, I'm just saying, like, okay, you got. You got you know,
No, you know what it feels like? It feels like Thanos when he's holding that glove and Fangio was like a rock he puts in the power glove. You know what I mean? Like that is like just right. Then he's ready to wipe out the universe. That's what it feels like McDaniel is about to do. But I really think right now, quietly, guys, he's putting together one of the like we
what
have not had a
what I've been saying. What I've been saying since we was over there at TD, bro.
What?
Coaching matters, bro.
Oh,
and if you're gonna have guys, even in the NFL level, I don't care how experienced a guy, how veteran a guy is. He's always, if he's still able to get out there and be athletically on the field, he still can always fine tune something. No such thing as a perfect player. And if you can find a coach that a player galvanizes himself to and believes in, that player will find something that coach offers to be able to add to his toolbox to make him better. Fangio has something to offer all of these guys, which means that they all can get better just by being around him and pulling from that knowledge base, bro. Like,
we got him for 3 years with a 4th-year team option, baby.
Yeah,
we got this man till he's like 68. Let's go.
Imagine what Jalen Phillips gonna look like, bro, when he.
Well, at least Fangio helped out my trajectory. I said Phillips would enter the top 10 this year, and then next season he would enter the top 5, top 3, and Fangio going to do. I'm good, baby. Let's go.
What if he and Chubb are meeting each other there together?
That's scary.
1 and 2 in the league.
I think they will. I think it's going to be ugly.
I think they're going to be like Waddle and Tyreek. They're both going to be in the top 5. Watch out. Like, it's going to be nasty.
With Christian Wilkins right there in the conversations again, too. The new age Aaron Donald. I don't care what anybody say. Y'all say what y'all want to say, but that man.
He's going to get extended. Y'all
better recognize that name. Yeah. Aaron Donald 2.0. Christian Wilkins.
Unbelievable. Absolute robbery. People, dude, if I was a Tua-neer, wouldn't I say the biggest robbery was Tua didn't make the Pro Bowl when I'm on record saying Wilkins and Waddle are the biggest robberies?
Bam. Exactly.
I'm even on record saying Waddle's probably my favorite player on the team right now. Anyways, Ogbah's age, well, you know, Waddle, Tyreek, Tua, Holland, and Phillips are my favorite players. In no particular order. I love them just as much. And I'll always have a soft spot for X. I always love X. Daniel Ifusi, guys, he said Ogbah's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, told Joe Rose today that he expects Ogbah to be a Dolphin in 2023. I do expect him to be back. In my conversations with the Dolphins, they made it clear how much they like him, Rosenhaus said. Now, we've gone over. They can save money. They've structured this where they can say a good over $15 million if they trade him. Okay, here's the thing. We've also talked about on this channel, BallGame, and we've talked about it privately, and I've talked about it with EM Dolphin fan privately. His flexibility in the front for what we're going to do and the guys we already have up there is very intriguing. But the other layer I think we got to peel back on this, boys, is if they keep that contract on the team, I can only see them adding one big contract in free agency. To add 2 contracts, like to go get a Jalen Ramsey. By the way, if you are a Patreon or a channel member, I reported October 24th. Go check out. Scroll down. I reported October 24th that at the deadline we were exploring Jalen Ramsey and we were making calls on him. So all this word coming out about our connection to Jalen Ramsey, I had that back on October 24th. Go check it out if you don't believe me. Patreon.com/Finside the NFL or become a channel member. Go to the community tab.
You want to come home, man.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is you can't add a Jalen Ramsey and like a top-tier linebacker, right? You can only add one of the two. Right? And I think that second safety, because of Brandon Jones' limitations as a coverage guy, I could bring Needham back on the cheap, right? Mm-hmm. Trill Williams is going to be back. We can figure out, I think, that other boundary position, right? We got Kader Kohu who could kick out, and you can put Needham back in the nickel if you want. We can figure that out. I think if we're keeping Ogbah and we only have one big cash guy to get, elite talent to pay for, I don't know about you guys, but to me it'd be linebacker probably and then safety. Your guys' thoughts on Ogbah coming back and the layers I just spoke of, because there are layers to it if that contract's on the team.
It does limit you. And if it's a way, maybe it's a way they can restructure this net, but you're right. You can only go get so many top tier 1 guys, and then you have to fill in with that. So, you go get a guy like Ramsey, that's not going to be cheap. And like BallGame said, he does want to come home. And if you from Florida, know how the Florida boys is. BallGame, he wasn't a Florida boys. They love talking that trash.
Bro, him and X would be crazy, bro. You could just throw Brandon Jones at the other side, bro. That would be nuts, dude. Anyway, sorry.
Crazy.
Go ahead, Richmond. Go ahead.
No, but that was one of the things I said. But yeah, I agree with you. If you do that, the linebacker position, I say you can't find somebody to play it or orchestrate or do that. But yeah, you bring in a guy like Ramsey. Wouldn't be mad if they did that, but that's the thing with Ogbah. You got to make it say, okay, how do we actually want to do this and this and that? And I know he had some back problems or something this past year, but maybe he's willing to restructure or whatever. But I think I would want to be a part of this. I've been in the league for a while, like Ogbah, this and that. If I can stay here and take a little less, I might be willing to consider it, but I'm not talking that man pockets, but I'm just, looking at it from my perspective now, knowing what I know now. But that's good that they do want you back. Anytime a team say, they're interested, that's good. So we'll just have to wait and see how it unfolds. What my man PL say?
Tua sexual. He was obsessed with grinding out hate against QB. Tua Tagovailoa.
Bro, okay. He kills me. His name's Ace. He kills me, bro. He's on Patreon too. He's a good guy, man. He's a good guy.
Tua sexual.
All right, so give your thoughts on PL's donation as well as your thoughts BallGame on Ogbah's game.
My man Ace.
So man, for me, man, with regards to when the team says openly that they want you back and they're already in talks with your agent about what saying where you stand with them. I think it just comes down to a mutual respect between the two. He's crazy not to be able to see the trajectory of this group, man. And if you're truly a professional about it, he's made a significant amount of money in his career. At this point now, it's about the end goal. The ring is the ultimate prize, not the money, because you made enough of that. He probably won't ever spend in it. He won't ever spend out what he's already made. So it all depends on what level of professional you want to be. You can take the cut for the team, you know what I'm saying, and work towards being in the upper echelon and get into those, to get into the playoffs and make the run and get to the Super Bowl. It's well worth it. And I think all of these players, man, at the end of the day, they're not out here just to get a check. They're out here to try to win a Super Bowl too. You don't compete at the highest level of this game just to be getting a check. They want, they want their names in the record books as being, Super Bowl champions. And some sacrifice comes with that, unfortunately. And it's on the players' end. It ain't the coaches. The coaches don't make the salary they make, so some players got to suck it up for the team. And I believe Ogbah has been and will continue to be a team guy. Right? Kansas City did him wrong. That's how he ran it over with us. We rewarded him for his efforts. And now at this point, the Dolphins might need to come back and ask him, hey, can you do this for us? Him and a bunch of others that it might have to happen. Because, you got a lot of guys that have matriculated and grown and made names for themselves, and they need to be rewarded as well. And sometimes those things work. He got rewarded for in the season he had. That was great. Now it's Christian Wilkins' time to get his extension. And you don't want to you don't want to go into the season having Christian Wilkins not handle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but he got money coming. So Ogbah, all you got to do is just shave a little bit off of his, and you can take care of a lot of different things. My thing about the big splashes are, for certain, if you go out and you grab a Jalen Ramsey, I think you get top tier play again once again from X, because at that point then he's not required. You already know out of the gate. Ramsey taking the number 1 again. X gets the number 2s, and then it's locked up, and you don't have to
travel. No,
and you
not
don't
a lot
have
of work on his groin, all that jazz. Yeah,
and you ain't got to work and then those guys on the back end don't have to be as elite.
Holland and Brandon Jones. Yep,
but
exactly.
If you don't get that guy out there, now you need that back end. So
exactly.
So
yeah, I agree with 110%. That's why I said if you get Jalen Ramsey, I think you can stick Brandon Jones and Verone McKinley back there, right?
Yeah,
Verone and Brandon, you can make something work with them back there. If you don't, I agree with you 110%. Then you got to make an investment somewhere, some way. And I do think if you get a Ramsey, I think you got to add like tier 2, cusp of tier 1 linebackers, right? The guys that are going to cost under 10 million,
Pratt.
9 million. Jermaine Pratt is a good example,
Pratt.
right?
Yeah.
So. Another big story that came out today, our final thing here today, Caleb Williams, USC quarterback, absolute stud. Him and Drake May are eligible to come out next year. Absolutely studs. And you see the 21-year-old right here. We'll start here. He's eligible for the 2024 draft, but he could also return to USC after this year. He won the Heisman this year. Caleb, remember, he followed Lincoln Riley, right, to USC. Right, he's the one who displaced Spencer Rattler. People remember back then. Anyways, at Oklahoma, right? So, but this is what caught everyone off, and this is what had everyone talking today. But should the AP College Football Player of the Year decide to enter the 2024 draft, he already knows where he'd like to land. I'd like to be around younger coaches, Williams says. I'd probably like to go to the Dolphins. I also would be able to play with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki. Well, I mean, you got to change that last name.
Last one.
The defense isn't bad. That's probably my number 1 spot. Not only does Williams think the team has a talented roster, but the aesthetics and the Florida lifestyle help too. I also like the colors. The colors are pretty cool and the weather's good. But he made it clear he's appreciative of whatever his name ends up getting called. San Fran, Raiders, Falcons, says of other teams who are the top of his list to play quarterback for one day. And he said, I'd play anywhere. So, while people are trying to run with this as, oh my God, you could replace Tua. What I'm looking at this shows how attractive our destination is right now. You got young kids coming out and saying, I want to go there. What do you think free agents are saying right now? That's how I perceive it, right? The logic and the reason kicks in and says, players want to come here. Young or old, coaches want to come. We're seeing, guys, we just want
to be a part of this.
Want to come here. Right?
Yeah.
Coaches want to come here. Players who aren't even in the league yet want to come here. So what do you think players in the league want to do, right? So that's what I took it. That's what gets me excited. Listen, if Tua don't work out, and I think he's going to, But let's say he just hypothetically he doesn't. And I've said this before. I'm all in on Caleb Williams or Drake May if we got the capital to go get them. I'm on record saying that multiple times this season. So I'm cool with that, but I think Tua's going to work out and continue to give us that top 5 production. What are your guys' thoughts on what Caleb Williams said? What do you see it as? Do you see it how I see it, that players want to come here? Or do you see it, here's a chance to move off of Tua? What do you guys see it as?
Richmond? You going back? Okay, I'll go. Okay. The first thing I think is good. I can remember not long ago where nobody wanted to really come to the Dolphins, and the thing that, like you said, normally the weather, living in Miami, no state taxes. It was, but for some reason we couldn't get top tier free agents to want to come sign with the Dolphins, but. Like I said, what they're putting together now, even like I think was it last year, Debo was put on record. Yeah. He wanted to come here, so it's always good. It's people paying attention, and a lot of times you can pick up a guy that says, "Hey, I've made my money. I'm not going to get what I am, but I'll take a little less money to go there because I know we got a shot to win, Super Bowl, this and that, blah blah blah." So, but for a guy to be in college and got a year left, and he's like, "I want to go to Miami." That's pretty, especially a quarterback. And everybody knows you really don't have no choice most of the time of where you're gonna go. Is He'll probably be a pretty high selection, and if things go the way we are, we're gonna be toward the bottom of the first round anyway. And like you said, reason I expect Tua to work out. So I'm not looking at that. I love the kid too because he's a hell of a player, but. It's always good when the first team he mentioned wasn't the 49ers, it wasn't the teams that just went to the Super Bowl, Kansas City. What he said, I want to go to the Dolphins, this and that, because I think the way the offense and everything, like, I can rock with that, man. I can light some stuff up. So it's good. I'm telling you. So I like I said, I got to work on BallGame. I got to if I can get a few people back on the bandwagon. I'm
over here.
Little hints.
I'm over here giddy because it's nice to feel wanted, like the top chick going to the prom. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what it feels like. And we haven't even won anything yet. Wait till we start winning. BallGame. What are your thoughts?
I believe, man, from the beginning, bro, that there was going to be a change and shift somehow, somewhere, and it's happening. So for me, Richmond, you can talk to me, man, but I ain't ready. Man, because I remember people out here with just dealing foolishness. So now you can stand out there and watch the, you know what I'm saying? While we out there partying on the yacht in the middle of the ocean, but you can stand on the side, maybe the second trip around. But first one, you definitely ain't getting no invite, not for the BallGame. I'm standing there checking tickets and I'm taking receipts too. I'm telling you that right now. But in terms of being a wanted destination, bro, what we was able to accomplish, man, the Dolphins put the entire league on notice. And people were amazingly disappointed in the fact that Tua got hurt and he wasn't able to showcase his talent the rest of the year. I think the NFL, those primetime spots, everybody tuned in and people were amazed at a lot of what they saw. You know what I mean? The record in itself. And when he won a lot of them games, man, he was spot on, bro. And people started talking about him in that MVP race, man, changed the dynamics, bro. People can say what they want to say and hate as much as they hate, but stats don't lie. And that kid was on, you know what I'm saying, had he stayed healthy, bro, it was gonna be a shit show. He was gonna be rewrite some record books. And people tune in for that, right? At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, there's something special brewing down here. And I think that across the league, players talk and they see and they want to be a part of something special and different, especially if where they are has been consistent mundaneness, you know what I'm saying? And the Dolphins got some fresh, new, you know what I'm saying, new stuff being thrown out there. I saw some run designs from Mike this year that I hadn't seen anybody ever run. You know what I'm saying? I saw some concepts. And so that stuff alone, if we can get the right personnel to execute it, man, it's going to revolutionize this offense. And hell, you're going to have people around, you're going to have coaches trying to run down there to pluck for Mike. You know what I'm saying? They said all along that he was what? He was a run game. He was a run game coach for San Francisco. So Frank Smith and Bevel are the masterminds behind the passing game. All of that, he benefits from all of that just as much as guys going over there pulling from Vic, man. At the end of the day, this gumbo they putting together is going to be one hell of a eat, bro. It's going to be one hell of a dinner that you can get full off of and get all you need and want in football, especially from South Florida. And I believe that it's going to be very special, and it's going to pay off. I don't have any reasons to be skeptical about it not. I believe that 1, 2 is a professional. 2, he's dedicated to the art of getting himself better every year. And 3, the people that are around him, they're going to hold him accountable, and he doesn't have a hard time holding himself accountable. Jerome said it himself. He's the one guy that no matter what happens, if it's something, he takes it. He takes it and he comes in and he tells them, my bad, guys, I got to be better. I'll be better. You know what I mean? And that's what you want. And that's why these guys, nobody can turn them against him. Nobody can talk bad about him because he is the leader that is going to lead them to the next level of greatness. You know what I'm saying? And I take my hat out to him because at the end of the day, that injury was horrific. People don't want to talk about it. They want to wash it over as if it wasn't significant. But that's a mental and physical challenge that he had to overcome just to even be here. And I've seen progression from this kid every year, bro. He's gotten better. I'm giddy about, give me 15. You give me 15, that's a done deal. I don't even care about the other 2. Give me 15 games to her. I believe 15 of those 15 will be 14. And I'm good with that.
I mean, I don't know if y'all
because Fangio.
I don't know if y'all heard what Alec Ingold said, but Alec Ingold said, I have no doubt that man is going to be on a mission next year, and it's going to be fun to watch when it came to Tua. So, that's the thing. Yes, all the players believe in him, right? So that's
bro. What did I say? I said this at the beginning of the year. I said once they figure out exactly once they figure out each other and they start to believe in each other, that's when it gets dangerous, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when you get guys out there selling out. That's when you get guys out there basically putting their bodies on the line for each other.
Yeah,
that's when it becomes team football. And a team united is a team that is dangerous as hell.
Yeah, for sure.
You got all this over the top special athleticism.
Yeah, it's on like Donkey Kong, baby.
So,
all right, gentlemen. Man, awesome show. Awesome show as always. We'll be back next week on Wednesday as always. I'll be live tomorrow night with Neil Driscoll on Fin Too Deep. And then I'm going to be dropping my free agency targets. I've actually upped the list from 20 to 25. I'm either going to be dropping that Friday evening or Saturday in the day. I haven't decided yet, but it's going to be coming one of those 2 days. So be on the lookout for that. So a lot of content coming your way. And then next week, I'm going to be dropping my first big board for the draft. We're going to be doing running backs. So a lot of content coming your way. Over 510 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. We appreciate y'all for coming through. We love each and every one of y'all. Thank you for the continued support. And we hope all of y'all have a blessed and great Wednesday night. We will see y'all on the next one. Until then, as always, fins up all day, every day, everyone.
Fins up.
Fins up.